If the color of a diamond is the first thing you see, then the clarity of that diamond is what drives that price up. So today we're going to talk about clarity and the inclusions within a stone and how it affects the price. In order to understand the inclusions in a diamond or a stone, you have to understand how a diamond is made. A diamond is created 100 to 150 miles below the Earth's surface. It is created by a carbon atom compressed by a million tons of pressure, 5,000 or 6,000 degrees of heat over millions of years. And it compresses that carbon atom into what we know of as a diamond. Then the diamonds are brought to the Earth's surface by volcanic eruptions or alluvial deposits, and we mine them, cut them, and put them into a ring. Now, during that creation process, everything doesn't react as well as it should inside that stone. So you have carbon atoms that didn't fully form into a diamond. You have air pockets, you have little cracks, or you have little things going on inside that stone that doesn't make it flawless. A flawless diamond has no inclusions at all inside that stone. The least amount of inclusions, the more rare it is, and the more inclusions it has, the lower on the scale it will be, and the more frequent you find them. Now, when you're evaluating a diamond for grading a stone, to decide where it falls on the scale of clarity, you have to evaluate the type of inclusion it is, how frequent that inclusion takes place, how many there are, and things of that nature. Because if you have just one inclusion, and let's say it's on the side of that stone, it will grade higher than a stone that has 2, 3, or 4 of the same type inclusions, and they're scattered throughout the stone. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a stone, 2 of them side by side, and one has an air bubble right below the table, which is the top of the stone, and it only has 1. Then that stone will grade higher than the stone beside it that has 6 or 8 air bubbles that are trapped down deep inside the stone. Evaluating a stone for clarity grading, you have to evaluate how frequently and how many inclusions there are, where they're placed, how they affect the overall appearance of a diamond. Also, before we talk about the scale, the clarity scale, you have to understand that an inclusion is different than a blemish. A blemish occurs on the outside of a stone. An inclusion, like the word applies, deals with things that are inside the stone. Let's say you look on the side of a diamond and you see polish marks on a facet, which is a flat place on that diamond. Polish marks are on the outside, therefore that's a blemish. If you look and see a carbon or white dot inside the stone, that is a carbon molecule left over from the process, but it's down inside the stone. Therefore, it is included. Make sure you understand a blemish is on the outside and an inclusion is on the inside. Now, in the last video, we talked about the color scale, alphabet lettering system that went from D to Z. The clarity scale is altogether different, and it doesn't make sense until I explain it to you, so kind of bear with me for real quick. You can find an example of the scale on the internet, and it goes from flawless to I3. And used to that was called included, now they call it imperfect. Flawless is the top of the scale, and I'll try to include a link somewhere down below here to get you to one of those scales. The further away you get from flawless, lower in value that stone becomes cost-wise, because finding a flawless diamond is very, very rare, so therefore it is a higher priced stone. So as we go through these lists of characteristics of a diamond, they're going to get less expensive the further down we go. Let's begin. The scale, like I say, begins with flawless. The next grade down is called internally flawless, which means we talked earlier about blemishes. So a diamond can be clear of inclusions but have polish marks on the outside, and that would give it a rating of internally flawless. The inside is clear, but the outside has some problems. Next step down is VVS1. That stands for very, very slightly included in the first grade. The next one down from that is VVS2. Very, very slightly included on the second grade. Now, you come down from there and you go into the VS category, and there's 2 of those. That means very slightly included, 1 and 2. Now, further down you go, you get into the SI category, which is slightly included, 1 and 2. And recently I have seen where GIA came up with a third grading system for that SI category, the slightly included category, and it's a SI3. Now, when I went to gemology school, there was only SI1 and 2, but now there's actually an SI3. The stone is good enough that it's not an I1, but it doesn't grade as a SI2. So they invented a new grade in there, SI3, slightly included. Now, if you go into a major, if you go into independent jewelers, most categories they sell are the SI category. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. Now, if you want to get a higher grade stone, they can get it. A lot of times they have to order it for you, the VVS, the VS categories. But if you go into an independent jeweler, most of those diamonds are slightly included, the SI category. Now, moving on down, you get into the imperfect or included category. You get into your I1, 2, and 3. I1, 2, and 3. Here is the difference. The SI category and anything above it, so let's go with SI 1 and 2, VS 1 and 2, VVS 1 and 2, internally flawless, and flawless. Those categories, you have to use a 10 power triplet loop to see the inclusions in that stone. Now, conversely, the I1, 2, and 3 category, you can see the inclusions with the naked eye. So there's a demarcation line between SI3 and I1. You can see them with the unaided eye, with the imperfect category, I1, 2, and 3. Anything above that, SI and higher, you have to use a 10 power loop. So to give you an example on what to look for and how this affects your stone, if you walk into a jewelry store and you pick up, let's say, a 1 carat diamond, and it looks like it is full of little particles of dust or dirt, that would be an I1, 2, or 3 stone, probably closer to an I2 or 3. If there's that many of them and they overpower the look of that diamond, it's going to be in the imperfect category. Now, if you go to a jewelry store and you pick up a 1 carat diamond and you can't see anything in it, now you grab a 10 power loop and you can start to see things in there. That would be in the SI category. If you have to search really hard to find something that looks like a carbon spot or an air bubble, if you have to search really hard with the 10 power loop in that diamond, it's going to be in the VS or the VVS category. So the harder you search in that stone for those inclusions, the higher up that clarity scale it will be. If it's very, very easy for you to see things in that stone, then it's going to be in that imperfect category, I1, 2, and 3. If you look at a diamond and it looks like an ice cube, then it's going to be an imperfect stone in the I1, 2, and 3 category. If you look at a stone and you have to ask for a loop, or you may have one yourself, and it takes you a while to find something, it's going to be a higher graded stone in your VS categories or higher. So remember, you want diamonds that are relatively clear to the unaided eye and have a good color. Then they have a good color, but you can see particles in there. Always want an eye clean stone. And that is an old term that was used a lot when I went into the jewelry business back in the 80s and 90s. People would hand you a stone and say, this one is eye clean. What that means is it takes a 10 power triplet loop to see the imperfections in it. It's clean to your unaided eye. Now here's what you've all been waiting for. How does clarity affect the price of that diamond? Okay, real short, quick and dirty explanation of this. Let's say you got a 1 carat diamond and all things are equal. The diamond grades at a 1 carat and let's say you got 4 different clarity grades. Same color, same cut, same everything except the clarity grade. Okay, if you shoot right in the middle, let's say you've got a SI2 D color stone in a 1 carat. That stone is going to retail somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000. Okay, if it was a 1 carat I1 stone D color, that stone would retail somewhere in the neighborhood of about $3,000. So there's a $2,000 jump or decrease between the SI category and the I1 category. Remember, the I class of grading is a lot more prevalent and frequent and easier to find mining a diamond than those higher graded scales. So 5,000 roughly for a 1 carat SI class stone, 3,000 roughly for a 1 carat I class stone. Now let's go up that scale. So let's say you've got a 1 carat stone that is a D color VS1. That stone would retail for close to $7,000. If it was a VVS1 1 carat D color, it would retail closer to $10,000. Now, once you break that barrier into the internally flawless or the flawless category, that 1 carat D colored stone flawless or internally flawless would retail close to 20 grand. So there's a huge jump between the VVS1 category and IF and FL category. So those two top grades, internally flawless and flawless, are the most expensive because they're most rare. Most diamonds have something in there, but to find one that is totally clean is very rare indeed. Those prices are subject to change and subject to be different in each part of the world, even the United States, even the state that you live in. A 1 carat diamond in where I am in South Carolina is going to be a lot cheaper than a 1 carat diamond in Las Vegas or a 1 carat diamond in New York. So it depends on where you are. The gentleman that I see a lot of on YouTube has founded this company called Rare Carat. He was upset that a 1 carat diamond in 4 different places was 4 different prices. Well, take into consideration, you have to understand that the cost of business in different locations are different. For here, me in South Carolina, the cost of doing business is relatively small because of my tax base, insurance, amount of employees, and that kind of thing. If I had the same jewelry store in Atlanta, Georgia, it would cost me in the neighborhood of $1,000 a day to operate. Same jewelry store in New York, maybe even more than that. Same jewelry store across the nation in Nevada or Las Vegas may be $5,000 a day or a week to operate. So the guy that invented Rare Carat, I don't really see where he came from. I mean, the cost of doing business changes the price you have to charge for that diamond. Anyway, my rant's over. So the clarity affects the price of that diamond significantly, probably more than the color. So anyway, there's your clarity scale. It goes from flawless, which is FL, to internally flawless, through your VVSs, through your Vs, through your SIs, and through your Is. That was a very quick way of explaining the clarity grading scale. I hope you enjoyed that video. The next video we talk about will be the cut of a diamond, and that'll be the last of the 4 C's. We went through carat weight, color, now clarity, and the next one will be cut. So we'll start discussing the shape of a diamond. Now, please understand, there are many, many other factors that go into grading a diamond. There's symmetry, there's polish, and all kinds of different things. So the 4 C's are a good base for determining the overall price per carat of that stone. But there's a lot of little nuances of a diamond that you can't see on the internet or you can't read in a lab report. So take that into consideration. Thank you for watching, and if you do like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you would, and I'll send these straight to you. And share these videos with other people, somebody that you know might be looking for a stone or a diamond, and they could use this information. Thanks for watching.